Welcome, stargazers and space enthusiasts, to another episode of Astronomy Daily. I'm your host, Anna, and I'm thrilled to bring you the latest and greatest news from the cosmos. Today, we've got a stellar lineup of stories that will take us from the cutting edge of space defense to the mysteries of lunar exploration. We'll be diving into the growing militarization of space, checking in on some groundbreaking deep space missions, and even exploring potential landing sites for humanity's return to the moon. So strap in and prepare for liftoff as we embark on this cosmic journey through the most exciting developments in space and astronomy. Whether you're a seasoned astronomer or just curious about the wonders beyond our atmosphere, there's something for everyone in today's episode. Let's get started. Let's start today with news that we don't want to hear, but is becoming an increasing reality. Space has long been called the final frontier, but it's increasingly becoming a potential battleground as well. Countries around the world are ramping up their investments in space defense and exploring the military possibilities of low Earth orbit. Experts say governments are recognizing space as an important warfighting domain. There's a growing focus on both protecting existing space assets and developing new offensive capabilities. Some of the weapons being explored for space combat include kinetic weapons like missiles, as well as non-kinetic options such as electromagnetic pulses, microwaves, and lasers. While lasers face challenges with power supply and stability in space, they could potentially target satellites or ground-based targets. Earth-based anti-satellite weapons also pose a major threat. Countries like China and Russia have already demonstrated the ability to destroy satellites in orbit. As our reliance on space-based systems for communication and navigation grows, the ability to take out an adversary's satellites becomes an increasingly concerning capability. The militarization of space is raising widespread concerns among experts. While the Outer Space Treaty prohibits placing nuclear weapons or other weapons of mass destruction in orbit, it doesn't adequately address newer military technologies and capabilities. Some worry that the increasing military focus in space could lead to an arms race. There are calls to update international laws and treaties to better regulate military activities in space. However, enforcement remains a challenge. As space becomes more congested with military and dual-use technologies, the risks of conflict are growing. For now, space remains a vital domain for Earth-based military operations, but many see actual space-to-space combat as an eventual inevitability as more countries develop counter-space capabilities. Now for some exciting news from the European Space Agency's Hera mission. In a groundbreaking achievement, Hera's 2 CubeSat companions have successfully signaled from deep space, marking ESA's first use of these miniature satellites beyond Earth orbit. The CubeSats, named Juventus and Milani, each about the size of a shoebox, were activated and tested while still secured in their deployers aboard the main Hera spacecraft. This initial check-in occurred at distances of 4 million and 7.9 million kilometers from Earth, respectively. During their brief activation periods, the CubeSats verified critical onboard systems, including avionics, instruments, and intersatellite links. They even tested their reaction wheels, which will be crucial for controlling their attitude during flight. This success is more than just a technical achievement. It validates the entire ground command infrastructure and paves the way for using CubeSats in future deep space missions. The ability to deploy these small, relatively inexpensive satellites alongside larger spacecraft could revolutionize how we explore our solar system. Hera is currently en route to the asteroid Dimorphos, where it will study the effects of NASA's DART mission, which successfully altered the asteroid's orbit last year. Once Hera arrives in late 2026, the CubeSats will be released to conduct close-up observations, taking risks that the main spacecraft cannot. This pioneering use of CubeSats in deep space opens up new possibilities for planetary exploration, potentially allowing for more frequent and cost-effective missions to distant targets. It's an exciting step forward in our ongoing journey to understand the cosmos. Now let's take a look at this week's launch schedule. This week promises to be another busy one in the world of space launches. Let's start with China's highly anticipated Shenzhou 19 mission. Set to launch later today at 2027 UTC, this mission will send 3 taikonauts to the Tiangong space station. The crew will lift off aboard a Long March 2F rocket from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. This marks the 14th crewed flight of China's Shenzhou program and will continue the country's ongoing presence in low Earth orbit. We'll have more about this launch in our next story. Meanwhile, SpaceX is also keeping up its rapid launch cadence with multiple Starlink missions planned. The first is scheduled for today at 11:44 UTC from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. This Starlink Group 9, 9 mission will deploy 20 V2 mini satellites to further expand the global internet constellation. Not to be outdone, SpaceX has 3 more Starlink launches on the docket. Look for additional missions lifting off from both coasts throughout the week, including launches from Cape Canaveral in Florida. These missions highlight SpaceX's commitment to rapidly building out its satellite network. In other launch news, Russia is planning a secretive mission using a Soyuz 2.1B rocket. While details are scarce, this launch is expected to carry a military payload to polar orbit from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome on Thursday, October 31st. Rounding out the week, keep an eye out for Rocket Lab's next Electron launch from New Zealand. Scheduled for Monday, November 4th, this mission, playfully named Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes, will carry a confidential payload for an unnamed customer. With multiple nations and private companies contributing to this packed launch schedule, it's clear that access to space continues to expand and evolve. Each of these missions, whether delivering satellites, crew members, or classified payloads, represents another step forward in our ongoing exploration and utilization of the final frontier. Now, some more on the Chinese launch. China is making history once again with its space program, as the country prepares to send its only female spaceflight engineer to the Tiangong space station. Wang Haozhe will be part of the 3-person crew launching aboard the Shenzhou 19 mission, marking another milestone for China's space exploration efforts. This mission is significant not only for Wang's participation, but also for what it represents in China's ongoing commitment to space exploration. Wang will become just the 3rd Chinese woman to take part in a crewed mission, highlighting the country's efforts to diversify its astronaut corps. The Shenzhou 19 crew, led by experienced astronaut Kai Shuzhe, is scheduled to blast off early Wednesday morning from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. They'll spend about 6 months aboard Tiangong, conducting scientific experiments and maintaining the space station. China's space program has been advancing rapidly in recent years. The Tiangong space station, completed just last year, is a testament to China's growing capabilities in space. With plans for crewed missions to the moon by 2030 and aspirations for a lunar base, China is positioning itself as a major player in the new space race. This mission underscores China's commitment to its space dream and its determination to become a leading space power alongside the United States and Russia. Okay, how about some news from the USA? NASA has taken another exciting step towards returning humans to the moon by refining its list of potential landing sites for the Artemis 3 mission. The space agency has identified 9 candidate landing regions near the moon's south pole, each chosen for its scientific value, engineering feasibility, and potential to support sustainable lunar exploration. These regions include intriguing areas such as the peak near KBS B, Haworth, Malapert Massif, and several sites around the Nobel and de Gerlache craters. What makes these South Pole regions particularly fascinating is their geological diversity. Some feature permanently shadowed areas that may preserve water and other valuable resources, offering a stark contrast to the landing locations of the Apollo era. NASA's selection process involved a multidisciplinary team of scientists and engineers who analyzed data from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter and other lunar studies. They considered factors like scientific potential, terrain characteristics, and lighting conditions to ensure the chosen sites can support the needs of the Space Launch System rocket, Orion spacecraft, and the Starship human landing system. The Artemis 3 geology team has highlighted the potential of these sites to deepen our understanding of rocky planets, lunar resources, and the broader history of our solar system. This mission will mark the first time astronauts land in the moon's south polar region, offering unprecedented opportunities for scientific discovery and exploration. As NASA continues to refine these potential landing sites, they're setting the stage for long-term lunar exploration and paving the way for future human missions to Mars. The Artemis program aims to land the first woman and person of color on the moon, making this a truly historic endeavor in space exploration. Our final story today takes us to our nearest planetary neighbor, Venus. New research has uncovered what could be a long-hidden record of ancient impact craters on the planet's surface, potentially rewriting what we know about Venus's geological history. Unlike Earth, where wind, water, and tectonic activity have erased most traces of ancient impacts, Venus has experienced far less surface change over time. This has left some of the solar system's most pristine craters intact. However, Venus has always been conspicuously lacking in the giant impact basins we see on places like the Moon or Mars. A team led by Vicki Hansen from the Planetary Science Institute has been studying an area on Venus called the Haste Bad Tessera. This massive geological feature spanning over 900 miles shows unusual concentric rings that the researchers believe could mark the sites of two consecutive massive impacts billions of years ago. If confirmed, this would be Venus's oldest and largest impact structure, offering a rare glimpse into the planet's distant past. It also suggests that not all impact structures look alike, with Venus's unique conditions creating formations very different from what we see elsewhere. The key difference lies in Venus's early planetary structure. When these impacts occurred, Venus likely had a hotter, thinner outer layer than Earth does today. This allowed the impacts to break through and expose molten material from below, which then solidified into the complex, wrinkled terrain we see today. This discovery not only sheds light on Venus's history, but also gives us new insight into how planets evolve differently under various conditions. It's a reminder that in space exploration, we often need to look beyond our expectations to uncover the truth. And that brings us to the end of today's fascinating journey through the cosmos. From the militarization of space to groundbreaking discoveries on Venus, it's been another eventful episode in astronomy and space exploration. I hope you've enjoyed this cosmic update as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. If you're hungry for more space news, remember to visit our website at astronomydaily.io. There you'll find our constantly updating newsfeed, keeping you at the forefront of astronomical discoveries and space mission updates. While you're there, why not sign up for our free daily newsletter? It's the perfect way to start your day with a dose of space science. And don't forget to check out the great deals from our sponsors. They help keep this podcast floating in the vast expanse of the internet. If you're looking to dive deeper into the world of space exploration, all our back episodes are available on the website too. It's like a time machine, letting you revisit past astronomical events and discoveries. Finally, join our growing community of space enthusiasts on social media. You can find us as Astro Daily Pod on Facebook, X, YouTube, Tumblr, and TikTok. Share your thoughts, ask questions, or just geek out with fellow space lovers. This is Anna, signing off from Astronomy Daily. Keep looking up, and I'll see you next time for more out-of-this-world news.